Hey everyone, it is the Powerful Nerdcast, and we have an exciting episode for you today. We are about to talk about the new chapter of One Piece, the new chapter of Dragon Ball Super, and someone goes after South Park, and, well, that never works out. So we're about to explore those topics as well. Are you excited about this episode, Corey?
I'm super excited about this episode.
Do you mind if we start with Dragon Ball Super?
Yes, let's start with Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I love One Piece, but I love Dragon Ball just a skosh more, so I definitely want to talk about it.
One Piece comes every week.
Exactly.
Dragon Ball Super is once a month.
Exactly. So let's just get hyped here. So this is the most current part of the Moro storyline, and it is basically just classic Dragon Ball. I think that's what you were saying earlier. How
yes.
You could basically just call this like the Saiyan arc, except now it's just on a grander scale.
2.0.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A bunch of aliens coming to Earth and fighting a lot of the side characters of the series, which personally I am okay with. As we've always joked about before, Dragon Ball, for the most part, has been the Goku and Vegeta show, and this is an opportunity for a lot of those side characters to finally have some amazing moments and fight against some strong opponents. That was probably my favorite thing about the Tournament of Power arc, is that we got the return of a lot of classic characters fighting against new adversaries. Here we get it again, and the stakes are just as high because Moro is planning to consume the entire planet, and he's going to do it along with the help of a bunch of really colorful characters who in many ways are sort of variations of things we've seen before, but also some new stuff. So let's just sort of like break down each fight and talk about our favorites. And I think we need to start with Krillin, who has always been one of the biggest standbys of the entire series. And I thought it was kind of insulting how at the very beginning of the chapter you have that scene where Bulma is using these drones to sort of record all of these fights.
Again, it's a callback. Remember, you have the witch lady that uses her crystal ball for them to watch the last fights.
Exactly.
Now Bulma comes in. She's like, I got a DJI Mavic. We'll use that instead.
We'll just throw those bitches up in the air and see what sort of footage we can get.
And then Krillin comes up first, and she's disappointed.
No, it's actually Chi-Chi.
Because she wants to see Gohan
exactly.
fight. Again, a callback to the original Saiyan arc fight. You know,
exactly. The whole thing, you know, it's funny. There's a lot of scenes, actually, in this entire chapter that are very reminiscent of the classics. But, yeah, Chi-Chi's super pissed off. She just wants to see Gohan fight. But then we go to Krillin, who fights against Yunba, who's like this like panda man.
The Panda Man.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of like the character that Goku fought against in the Universal Tournament arc. Or not the Universal...
He sort of has... He's not the bouncy guy that can take a bunch of hits that Goku had to pick up and throw out of the ring.
But he's reminiscent.
But he has that same style of ability to, like... You know, he can essentially divert a Destructo disc, which is pretty rare, because those things are extremely destructive. One of them practically killed Frieza.
It's one of those techniques that it doesn't really matter how powerful you are. Like, no. it has the ability to damage someone who is, like, on a godlike level. I mean, I never expected that the thing would actually cut off Frieza's tail. But if Krillin were just right in terms of throwing it, he could have potentially killed Frieza.
Yeah, but at the same time, you could say, and this isn't exactly to disagree with you, Goku almost got killed by a laser gun because he wasn't paying attention.
That's true.
You know?
Again, there's a lot of inconsistencies in Dragon Ball in terms of how powers work and everything. Again, even with this chapter, you kind of have to suspend your sense of disbelief knowing how strong these characters are and how they're having a hard time against what are arguably maybe not the strongest characters in the series. But again, it's just interesting. And again, power levels really just don't mean shit in Dragon Ball.
You got Chaozu wins a fight because, again, this is kind of the episode of using your brains over your bronze, because there's just going to be more powerful people. Look, if you're Tien or Chaozu, you're not going to be the most powerful person on the battlefield, so you have to get good at winning the fights creatively. It almost feels Naruto-like, you know?
I'm kind of okay with that, though.
Yeah, well, look, Dragon Ball Z has to evolve. Dragon Ball Super has to evolve. They can't just have the most powerful dude win.
Who can punch the strongest?
Yeah, who can shoot the biggest beam?
Exactly.
We're past that in the series at a certain point.
We need distinctive techniques. We need that sort of rock, paper, scissors element for the series.
That's right.
Kind of like JoJo. I love JoJo because it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you have a good enough strategy, you can potentially win a battle. And it all, goes to what sort of abilities you actually have.
That's right, brother.
And Tien versus Chaozu or not Tien versus Chaozu. They're battling against that metal man who has a ridiculous name, Bikora Korta.
I'm surprised you even remember that shit.
I take
metal
my notes,
guy.
man. I check that shit. But again, he's sort of the same race as Vegeta that we saw from Universe 6.
His notes are blank. I don't know what he's fucking talking about.
They're up here. They're up here, you asshole. The point is, this was a really interesting fight because when I first was reading it, I was like, oh, Tien's just going to fucking destroy this guy. But his punches do not dent him at all. It doesn't do any damage.
No.
Then we go back to the Universe 6 tournament where we realize the only way to take down these metal men is to insult them. And I thought it was really clever how Tien was trying to insult him and he completely sucked at it. And it kind of reminded me of that one scene from the anime where Tien was trying to make King Kai laugh.
Yes.
And while he was successful, he was having a really hard time with doing it. Like, he was the one member of the team who was having, like, the biggest struggle with it, aside from Piccolo, who just straight up didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But, no, I just thought that was really great. And then, of course, Tien has to rely on Chaozu to come in and save the day by calling him an octopus, which somehow gave him the edge in the battle. I don't know. Are octopi a common, like, thing on this metal man's planet that insults them? I don't know. It's ridiculous.
I'm confused about the metal guy thing. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it wasn't going to work. I thought that one gentleman on the other universe's team that Vegeta was able to insult, I thought it was just going to be a one-off. Like, maybe that guy was just insecure.
Yeah.
But it seems to be a true trait to that metal race of fighters.
Exactly. So if any more of these guys show up, we immediately know how we're going to be able to.
We're just going to send out Jeff Ross, and he's going to shut him down.
Jeff Ross could destroy a metal man. Just thinking about that concept is
If you
hilarious.
don't know who that is, that's the guy that hosts all the roasts for Comedy Central.
Oh my god, that's great.
Go look up his best lines on YouTube. It's literally an enjoyable 10 minutes.
But what I really loved about this is, and this is something I thought about after reading the chapter, is even though it wasn't like a true battle in a sense, he was him insulting him, this was the first fight that Chaozu has ever won.
That's true. Chaozu's always been an accessory character, so it's kind of good. Hell, it's the chapter of the people you're not expecting to win winning. Like when Krillin was getting his ass kicked in the beginning of the chapter, I was like, this is kind of standard. I'm kind of sad they're giving him a damn, like bad fight that they're going to have it end with Krillin getting defeated or Piccolo showing up and helping him. And then it comes out that he is thinking a few steps ahead. He uses After Image and then Kamehameha's the guy down and wins. And then the Galactic Patrol is kind of like the sealing squad for the Great Shinobi War. Like they come up and wrap up the people in the mummy outfit, and that's what they're doing with everyone.
Holy shit.
It's so much like Naruto now.
It is. It very much is.
Yeah.
But going back to the Krillin fight, though, I really liked it. It felt classic. Again, every time I read the manga, I imagine in my mind what this would be like in anime form. And I love the way that the fights are actually choreographed. And Krillin was just classic here. Like you said, After Image technique. That's a classic technique, bringing back and then finishing the battle with a big Kamehameha blast. That was just perfect in pure Krillin. Would I have liked him to actually try and do something new? Yeah, but at the same time, I'm just excited to see my boy fighting.
I actually say no to something new. They are playing it safe for this arc.
They're playing nostalgia on this one.
They are playing nostalgia, but damn it, it works in Dragon Ball because not all that much depth was there. You see a new big bad guy, he defeats everyone, then someone steps up and defeats the new big bad guy. Now there's layers to this because they're actually developing these guys are almost getting more. The bad guys are almost getting more development than Ginyu Force. Yeah, Ginyu Force is more memorable, but I'm learning more about these individual bad guys. Yeah, they don't pose and dance and sing and whatnot, but I just think that there's a lot more depth to this arc so far. You're getting Jocko, you're getting Galactic Patrol, you're getting all these cool new bad guys, and they're just not throwaways. They're sort of like halfway throwaway.
I would argue that a lot of them are throwaways, though.
Okay, let's say at least 20% of them aren't. But okay, I'll give you that.
20%.
That's something, though, for all the new characters. There's a few good new ones in there. But if we went back, do you mind if I jump to the end where Goku shows up?
Yeah.
Okay, so Goku shows up. Goku defeats the Tri... what'd that lady do? She fused.
The three ladies.
Yeah, she three lady fused, and instead of becoming, she did become a person that had all three traits, but she got bigger, which could be a thing about the fusion we didn't know about. Which actually doesn't make sense.
Then again, they're another alien race that has the ability to fuse. We have seen so many fusion characters in the series at this point, though, so I'm not really all that surprised by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. And also, it makes sense that Master Roshi couldn't defeat them because they were hot chicks, and he can't do that. And he almost Me Too'd them because he says his groping, attacks don't work, He fucking could have got canceled if he's not careful.
I can see a lot of people getting upset about Master Roshi in this chapter.
Look, you're looking for it, though. You're looking for it if you go after Master Roshi. And don't go to Weinstein's to get a job and then get mad, okay? You know what I'm saying?
Holy shit.
If that's how you want to get your acting career started, don't cry to me later.
Whoa! Okay, anywho, the point is, also, how great was it just, I love that Dragon Ball Super sort of resurrected the idea that, yes, Master Roshi is a martial arts master, and he can indeed fight. That was one of my favorite things about early Dragon Ball. He's this old, perverted dude, but when it comes to actually fighting, he can hold his own. And ever since the Tournament of Power, he sort of awakened his true power yet again. And there's something about the concept of him fighting blindfolded I thought was really awesome. And he was kicking the shit out of these 3 chicks.
Is it confirmed that Master Roshi has some thing where he'll never die? He's immortal or something? Or like he drank some elixir of youth, so that's why he never really ages anymore? I heard that concept. I'm like, I don't know that in the lore, and I know Dragon Ball lore pretty well.
I don't remember.
But someone told me that.
I mean, there is the possibility that, he is like immortal in a sense and that he will never die. Because, I mean,
from natural causes.
As far as not aging, he hasn't really aged since Dragon Ball.
No.
And it's been a good while since then. Then again, he's a really old guy who's also very old to begin with. He's, I think, maybe the oldest person on the planet, except maybe next to his sister Baba. So it's really strange. But again, I love that he's fighting. I love that he's doing really great choreography. It wasn't until those 3 chicks fused together that they just started dominating in that battle, though.
Because they became very powerful, and then we've seen this technique before. We saw Gohan use it, where he wanted Goku and Vegeta to come back, so he just powered up really brightly and loudly so they could instant transmission to them. And then that's pretty much how Goku came in. And it just felt like the Saiyan Saga to me. One of the main cast getting rescued by Goku. He's very strong now. He dominates everyone. And then
honestly, I'm surprised he got back so quick. I thought they were going to keep delaying it a little bit.
I don't know, man. Maybe we're getting to the point where this is going to be Vegeta's arc. Like Vegeta pulls the Goku and shows up and saves everyone.
That would be a great twist, especially with how much they've been focusing on his
and then
training.
Zoro defeats Kaido. I'm sorry.
We'll save that for another discussion. But no, I think it'd be really cool. But again, Goku's been trying to learn Ultra Instinct, training with Maris and everything. He's had just as much training as Vegeta has, just in a completely different context.
I think his training is all traditional, though. Let me get stronger so I can get to the next transformation, while Vegeta's like, let me go develop this whole new power in a different direction.
That's what I'm excited to see from Vegeta, though. What sort of power is he going to use with this brand new spirit form? Like, I mean, obviously, instant transmission, something we can probably expect from the character. I do think it kind of takes away from Goku having that distinctive ability if he's able to use that, but at the same time, I feel like Vegeta's going to bring out something new that we have never even seen before. And
I think he's going to do self-healing. That's what I bet the money on, that he can lose all of his energy, concentrate,
and just keep bringing it back somehow.
Because Moro can take your energy, so instead of just pounding sensu beans like a guy that's carb loading, you just fucking use your new abilities. Now, here's the thing. Is he going to have to touch his head? Is he going to have to do a weird, embarrassing Vegeta pose?
Is there going to be a limit on how much he can actually do this?
Because
if he can do it limitlessly, the series is over.
He's kind of broken.
Like, Vegeta is officially a broken character at this point if he could just heal himself constantly. I mean, what's going to stop him aside from, Zeno or Beerus? Like, that ability could be very OP. There has to be some sort of, like, limit or restriction to what he's actually going to do there.
Or maybe he can only restore his health to 50%, so he'll never get fully restored every time he does it. There has to be some stipulations. We're not there in the story. Have to wait another 30 days to March 20th or something basically like that. So
which sucks. It always sucks having to wait for this, but it's always really fun to read.
I feel like, are they a few pages longer than a normal chapter? Or are they like...
Oh, they're definitely longer than a normal manga chapter.
Yeah, they feel longer. When you read them, they're like more things happen. Oh, also Yamcha got defeated-ish.
What a shock.
Yeah, but at the same time, at least he did something.
In the previous chapter, at least he got to fight against some aliens for a few panels and do something. I think it's kind of disappointing because that was the thing. Like, I was reading this chapter, I'm like, oh, Krillin had a great fight. Oh, Master Roshi, look at what he's doing. Tien and Chaozu, how classic. I can't wait to see Yamcha bring back that Wolf Fang fist. Boom, he gets fucking jobbed and punched off screen. Like, it's just kind of like, I understand that Yamcha's kind of a big joke, but at the same time, he has unique techniques. The Wolf Fang fist is really cool looking, and just... give the guy a fucking break.
He is one of the most powerful Earthlings.
Let Yamcha do something. Just like friggin' Chaozu, Yamcha has lost every single fight that he's been in. And this could have been that opportunity for him to have that real big, solid victory against someone, which I think would have been really freaking awesome.
Yeah, it would have been.
Give him a ridiculous alien to fight against and have him kick their ass with a Wolf Fang fist. Just do something. But no, he ends up getting jobbed like he always does, which is kind of a disappointment. But hey, at the same time, I don't want to complain too much because I'm getting to see these characters do something, which is really awesome.
And it doesn't feel like they're doing something until Goku and Vegeta show up.
I know.
Yes, Goku and Vegeta are probably going to be the catalyst to wrap the arc up and have the big battle with the big bad guy, but at least Piccolo and Gohan being this cool new team getting developed. Not that it's new, but it's now being reinforced. And now
17 and 18 helping them out in the battle against 7-3, the android. And the other little douchebag, Shima Rekka is his name. And we get the return of Moro. He finally decides, you know what, fuck it. My guys are getting their ass kicked. I'm going to go down to the planet, and I'm just going to start, imbuing people with power. And that's what happens to that one goon by the name of Saganbo, who's sort of like the leader of all of these guys, and sort of Moro's right-hand man at the moment. And Moro, we learn, now has the ability to basically just sort of like touch anyone, and he can sort of put his power inside of their body. Basically, the power of an entire planet, if you will, and it makes them really strong. And Saganbo, a character who I was thinking was probably going to be an absolute pushover, is actually kind of a threat now, because not only is he fighting against Piccolo and Gohan, but also 17, 18, and to a lesser extent, Jacko.
Yes.
So, and he is like dominating, like he's pumped up, he's all Jirenized, and he's like just throwing them around, hulking them into the ground. It's really freaking crazy, like how much power Moro can actually put into someone's body without them fucking exploding from it, and actually being able to fight back against these characters who are really strong. I mean, Gohan alone is really powerful.
Especially a Gohan Piccolo combo.
Exactly.
Like that should be top tier shit. Maybe not God level.
Yeah.
But against most mortal beings, it should be no problem.
Yeah, like Gohan and Piccolo next to, Goku and Vegeta are the strongest people on that planet.
That's kind of hard to understand.
Minus
where 17
Majin
is.
Buu, who unfortunately is still not around right now because all of the other crazy shit that was going on earlier on in the saga.
Yeah.
I would love to see Buu return and just start, destroying some shit.
I don't know, Moro's more strong now than he was back then.
No, I know, but I just want to see Buu like fight against like just some of the other alien characters. I always really love watching Buu fight, just because he's so unpredictable, and I always love people's reactions to him. The fact that no matter what they do to him, he just keeps healing himself constantly and like growing body parts back. That was one of my favorite parts about the Tournament of Power arc. How it all started when you had Majin Buu fighting against Basil, and it was just
the wolf guy.
The wolf guy, yeah, and just seeing him return and actually do something, and even I think the creators of the series realized like, oh shit, we forgot Majin Buu is like really OP. We have to find a way to not let him be a part of the Tournament of Power arc.
Yeah,
they always have to find ways to keep Majin Buu away because of how incredibly strong he is,
and his candy technique.
His candy technique. He could just turn Moro into candy and eat him.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? It could potentially work.
It's like that sealing technique Master Roshi has.
Yeah.
It's like Destructo Disc. There are these like loophole moves built into the series that are purposely not used very much.
Exactly.
They sort of pull them back and don't use them.
It goes back to Krillin using Destructo Disc. It doesn't matter how strong you are. You get hit by this thing, depending on your body type,
if you're
you
not
might
ready,
get cut in half.
Yeah, if you're not ready for it and you get hit by it, it'll chop you in half.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like I don't want to give it a rating unless you do, but like it was a great chapter. It got me pumped about the series. I'm excited about what's going to come.
Fucking 10 out of 10. This is classic Dragon Ball. This isn't Shakespeare or anything, but it's just really classic Dragon Ball in that sense, and I love it.
They're in some weird Arizona desert looking place, like the same.
Now, to be fair, they're all in a bunch of different locales.
Well, Moro is at the...
Of course, Moro is at the traditional giant Dragon Ball desert.
Yes.
But, you have like Tien and Chaozu who are fighting on that massive mountain in the castle. You have Krillin and Roshi who are in the middle of like the jungle. There's a lot of interesting locations for these characters to fight, which is awesome.
I'm excited about it. But like I said, this chapter is really good. But at the same time, the reason I'm excited is because there's obviously a lot more to come.
Yeah. Any predictions for what Goku's going to do now that he's here? Who he's going to go after first?
Oh, he's going to defeat the jacked up dude.
Yeah, Saganbo. He's just going to show up, boom, and then it's over.
He's gonna Nappa him,
all right,
or Radix him.
Yeah,
and then it's going to be like, oh yeah, it's the show I like because they do the things I like over and over again.
So of course this is all going to be leading up to Goku versus Moro.
Yes.
Couple things could happen here. Goku's already on the planet, so he's probably going to try and start fighting against Moro first.
Yes.
He's either going to just immediately go right for the jugular and try to use Ultra Instinct. He's going to slowly power up, or he's just going to keep fighting and get his ass handed to him until Vegeta returns. And here's where things could get even crazier again. Vegeta could be using his brand new spiritual powers to try and take down Moro. It'll either work or it won't work. Do you think we could see, and this is going to sound crazy, the return of another fusion between Goku and Vegeta, whether it be, which I actually would like to see the return of Gogeta from the Broly movie. And now you have a combination of Gogeta, Vegeta Goku, Ultra Instinct, spiritual powers, all in one being. It takes this type of character to bring down Moro. Do you think that would even be possible?
I don't know. To me, it's kind of a... I see fusion as a... To me, what you just described kind of sounds like an ass pull.
It is kind of an ass pull.
It doesn't seem like a really good storytelling technique. Like, these characters on their own need to become powerful. Mm-hmm. And I think that Goku's going to wear them down, and then Vegeta's going to come in and finish. That's my overall prediction.
I like the prediction, and to be honest, I want that to happen.
Or they could just do that, and then at the end they could fuse. Because then all of a sudden Moro takes a bunch of power from Earth, resets his endurance, and then they do it.
Exactly.
But Vegeta needs to get heavy screen time against Moro. Like they got to make that fight good.
You know, I love Goku. He's probably one of my favorite characters of all time, but I still want to see Vegeta take this victory.
Yeah.
I think they owe it to him at this point. And again, it breaks from the mold of always having the main character be the one to finish off the main bad guy. Vegeta, yes, he's practically the second main character of the series, but to see him finish off someone would be so freaking great.
Also, in kind of a humble way, I think Vegeta sometimes when he starts to win, he gets cocky, and not in like he slows down, but he just loves to talk. Much.
He loves to let the main villain power up to a point where they end up destroying all of them, like Cell.
Just like Frieza could have defeated Jiren how many times in the Tournament of Power? At least 2 different times, but instead chose to antagonize him before he finger laser beamed him. You know, it's like...
I don't know if Frieza could have taken down Jiren.
Well, there was that one time Jiren was almost defeated, but then Frieza talked a bunch of shit and he powered up because he had discovered the power of friendship.
I still think Jiren, next to the gods, is the most powerful character in the series.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Why isn't Jiren coming to help? Because Jiren don't give a fuck.
Jiren don't give a fuck. He's a member of his team, and they're off doing their own superhero Power
Justice
Ranger thing.
Anyway,
great chapter of Dragon Ball.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Would love to get your thoughts about it in the comments section. Predictions, what you think is going to happen. But let's go ahead and segue into One Piece. And we're going to be actually talking about 2 chapters here.
Wano
we had
Piece?
one that came out on Sunday and the one that just came out today.
Wano Piece.
And basically, it's like the big final moment for Odin Kozuki, which was...
his middle name's Tempura.
Anywho, the point is Odin Tempura is like got one of those classic moments in One Piece series where a character dies for what he believes in and does it in a really badass fashion. He dies with a smile on his face, which isn't the first time we've seen something like that in the series. Think Gol Roger, think freaking Whitebeard. That's exactly what's going on with this character, and man, he went out like a boss. And again, it's another one of those like anime manga things where you have to just say, there's no way that any human could potentially survive what he went through, but at the same time, it's still pretty freaking cool.
They also have Devil Fruit powers and all sorts of ridiculous
But that's
stuff.
what's also unique about Odin.
Yeah.
He's just a human.
He's Zoro.
You know, there's nothing really all that special about his character outside of the fact that he's just really strong and absolutely insane.
To me,
and can
he's
somehow survive being in boiling oil for over an hour.
He's very much like if you combined Luffy and Zoro into a person that had a Japanese art style. You know, like that's essentially who Odin is in my mind. I'm simplifying it. He had much different traits. He had a much different story to get to where he was than those 2 characters. But at the same time, I just in a large sense, I really liked this chapter. I thought it was a good wrap up. I like that they got to the end of Odin's story so we can get back to present time. Mm-hmm. And I thought he went out like a boss, and he, you know, I thought it was kind of, if I had one critique, like I'm reaching, I didn't really like that he got shot in the face. That's how he got killed. And then he collapsed into the oil. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought that was kind of fucked up way to go. I'm sorry for the language, guys.
Fuck. Screw the language.
There are kids watching, Corey.
Fuck the kids.
That's... Be careful.
I'm just quoting Michael Jordan here.
Michael Jackson?
I actually really, you know, I know you didn't like Odin being killed by just being ultimately shot at the end. I actually thought that it was kind of symbolic. In a sense, and in a very weird sense. So,
did he scream freedom while he died, or was that a different thing?
No, that's Mel
Braveheart.
Gibson.
Okay.
No, what I really liked about it is how basically I think him getting shot in the head is sort of symbolic of how the Wano Kingdom and how the progression of time has actually changed in the series. Whereas before, Wano was seen as sort of like this classical Japanese-styled kingdom where things were done in the old ways. The way of the sword, the way of being executed in certain ways, being boiled in oil. And as soon as Odin's time ends, he gets killed by the modern day of technology and change, which is getting shot in the head by a gun. That's the way that it's literally the progression of time.
I never thought of it that way. That's pretty symbolic. I think you're pretty cool commentary on that.
That's what I thought when I was like, oh, this is like, it's not just him getting shot in the head. That's just the way that I was actually viewing it. But before we actually jump into some of the bigger details of the chapter, just a quick breakdown. This is a really simple couple of chapters. It's Odin and his entire crew are getting ready to be boiled in a massive vat of oil, and Odin goes in second. There's this one guy that they just toss in immediately into the deep fryer, and he just like jumps out, and he's just completely fried to a freaking crisp.
Yeah.
Any other normal human would do that. Odin just gets in and looks like he's getting into a fucking hot tub, which is insane, and he's just taking the pain the entire time. And his loophole around actually saving all of his friends is that they're all standing on a massive wooden plank that he's holding up the entire time while his body is just getting completely wrecked by all of this burning oil. And he basically makes this declaration that if he's able to sort of withstand this for up an hour, his friends can go free and that Wano Kingdom is going to be opened up to the people.
Yes.
This is a really huge deal. And eventually it gets to a point where he makes it an hour, he somehow is still alive, and Orochi's like, you know what, I've changed the execution, we're just going to shoot your ass. So Odin decides to throw all of them off of the giant boiling pot, and they all end up running away, meeting up with his wife, who's eventually going to send them into the future. The big details of this chapter is the big moment where Odin is talking about the fact that in 20 years from now, a massive war is going to take place, which is probably what's about to be going down in Wano right here. But he also mentions that there is someone who's going to make an appearance, someone from 800 years ago. Now, this has been the biggest debate that everyone has been talking about. Who is Odin referring to? Now, the obvious answer here could very well be Joy Boy.
Yeah,
could we somehow be seeing the return of this character? What is the significance of someone from 800 years ago? Is it just a mistranslation? What's going on here? What the fuck is Odin talking about?
He also might just be talking about one of the weapons coming to...
Very well could be.
The weapons could be a person, though. Mm-hmm. You know, we know the one, is it the Poseidon, the ability to control the sea?
Yeah, that's Princess Shirahoshi.
Shirahoshi, the goldfish princess. So it could be another weapon. It could be a person. It's hard to say human in that series. It's like, human-ish person. Who knows what that is? The lore of One Piece is so good at coming out slowly. Mm-hmm. Slow burn.
But it seems like this arc has really been pulling the curtain back on a lot of things.
Well, they got to.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think One Piece is done in 5 years or less. Like, I think it's going to get wrapped up
I
soon.
want to say 5 years, but who knows? It could go on for another 10.
Yeah. And I don't know too much about the lore. I feel like you probably know more than I do, Corey, on that topic. But at the same time, I feel like I enjoyed this chapter. And again, I'm glad we're getting back to the present because I like Odin, but he's also gone. And I want to see the Straw Hats progress.
Exactly.
But, One Piece is damn good at taking you on journeys and making you care about the new characters, So it's not that crazy that we got such a deep backstory on this. But I'm ready for the next chapter.
Yeah.
I want to see it back.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm ready too. But I really enjoyed this backstory of Odin. At first, it wasn't gelling with me all that much. And then I just started reading them in succession. I was like, okay, this is actually kind of interesting. Especially because like I said, Odin's backstory is ultimately tied to the revelation of what One Piece is and how this is all going to tie into Joy Boy and his treasure. Wano Kingdom is slowly becoming, I think, one of the best arcs of the series and kind of feels like a real classic arc of One Piece, in my opinion. I don't know how much longer it's going to go.
There have been so many arcs in One Piece. And there's so many good ones, like Impel Down or the...
everybody loves CP9.
CP9. What's the spooky arc? I forget that one.
Thriller Bark.
Thriller Bark.
I thought Thriller Bark was a little long-winded. Maybe in the anime version.
I'll tell you, I think it took a while to get serious.
Yeah.
That was the thing. But I love Luffy stuffing the zombies back in the ground, like all that shit. Like that's like core One Piece to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's getting serious and everyone's going to have big fights and the power levels are going to get crazy big. And, and
I was kind of hoping this backstory would maybe delve a little bit more into Kaido, but I still have a feeling that's probably coming later.
As he's getting punched by a Gatling gun, we'll get a cutaway back to his back.
This will suddenly flash back to Kaido's backstory about how he became the man that he is today.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we'll get to see maybe his backstory of being one of the Rocks pirates, of being a crew member along Whitebeard. All that stuff I think is going to be really cool. But ultimately, I think Odin's backstory worked. I'm
also getting pumped about the dragon guy with the Logia fruit getting defeated. Rochi?
Yes, the Hydra Man.
The Hydra Man. I'm excited about him getting defeated.
Orochi.
Because he's just
both him and
one...
Kaido used dragon forms.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. But one uses more of
the multi-headed,
and one's a traditional dragon.
They also, just mentioning Orochi again. They actually do a pretty good job of actually making him feel a little more developed in this chapter, because before he was just kind of like a little asshole who didn't really seem there was much to his character outside of just being, a big dick. In this chapter, we actually get to learn he actually has motivation for his revenge.
Yes.
It's because his family was actually screwed over years ago, and they were actually murdered and taken away from him. So it's just this, this endless cycle of bullshit, and that's like one of the reasons that's caused him to want to sort of like take over the Wano kingdom and to sort of like basically get revenge not just against the people who are his enemies, but the entire country itself, which is why he has such a tight grip on it. Why Kaido allows this guy to do this outside of the fact that he probably just doesn't want to deal with running a country is beyond me.
Yeah, it is interesting. Why has he earned the right to be the guy that's in charge of this island? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just Kaido thinks, hey, he's good enough for now, and I get to just come around and do what I want. I get what I want when I'm around.
He doesn't have to do the paperwork. Orochi does.
Yeah, so it's an interesting like current situation with this arc, and like I said, I'm just ready to get back to the new stuff. Mm-hmm. Ready for the next chapter. Yeah, and also. I like all the people that they've developed, like not Orochi, Odin's like crew. Now that we know them, we're seeing them in flashbacks. I think they're all really interesting.
I loved that scene in the chapter where as they're being thrown away by Odin, they take the time to like show like a key moment in each of those person's lives where Odin has sort of helped them or influenced them in some way. Mm-hmm. It really shows like what sort of like a stand-up guy he really is.
Yep. Stand up in oil.
Yeah. That was brutal, man.
Yeah, it was.
Honestly, like the previous chapter before the one that just came out today, that opening scene where they toss that guy into the oil and then he just comes out like a fucking crispy mummified corpse, like that was fucked up by One Piece standards. Like that was really genuinely kind of disturbing. And physically Odin should not have even been able to survive that for like even just a couple of minutes. Like his entire body would have like crumbled on itself. Like how it was getting cooked.
When you fry chicken or something, it only takes like 8 minutes. Like 5 minutes. It doesn't take long.
No. And I mean, yes, he's a giant muscular human body, but
he's made of flesh.
After 30 minutes, that dude's going to be like a pretzel stick just breaking in half.
Yeah, but if he used hockey, see now we're getting into all that weird shit. If he used hockey, could he coat his legs in hockey and it doesn't hurt as much? Or
yeah, I mean, there is that potential.
I don't know the answer to any of that.
The worst that happened is he got a couple of bloody noses. Like that was about as bad as it got. But still, like I said, dude went out like a boss, smiling the entire time. I thought that was pretty damn cool.
So what about rating for this chapter? I think it's an emotional chapter.
For both chapters.
Yeah.
It's weird because, the reviewer and me liked both of these chapters. I felt like there was a lot of just... maybe this could have been condensed into a single chapter, or maybe that would have taken away from some of the emotional impact, because there's a lot going on here. It's not just Odin boiling in oil. It's his crew members. It's his actual death scene. It's the moment of Shinobu actually deciding that she's not going to be a part of that ninja group anymore and that she's siding with Odin at this point officially. There's a lot of little elements here. Even just the ending with his wife getting ready to use her abilities to send everyone into the future. Like, there's a lot of layers to this chapter, despite the fact that it's just Odin dying.
Yeah, this is setting into motion the current situation.
Out of a 10, I'd give both of them like a 9.
Yeah, okay, I like
4 out of 5.
I agree. They're good.
Anything I don't like is superficial at best, and only brings it down just a tad.
I agree.
Otherwise, this is classic shit that you definitely got to check out.
Okay, let's go to the South Park thing, because I don't know anything about it. Okay. You were going to kind of get me up to speed on this.
All right, so first and foremost, I know you're a fan of South Park. We're both
huge fan.
We love the show. We've been watching it for years. We quote it all the freaking
Started
time.
watching it like late middle school.
All right, so if there's one thing we've learned after watching South Park for years, it's that you don't get on Matt Stone and Trey Parker's bad side, because if you do, they're probably just going to destroy you in one of their episodes.
Yes.
That's just the way it is. And also something that's always been kind of fair about South Park is that it's a show that takes shots at everyone. It doesn't matter if you're on the left, if you're on the right, if you're religious, if you're not religious, conservative, liberal, whatever. They make fun of you because that's just the way they are. They make fun of everything. They call out America's bullshit. Well, one female writer has decided to go up against South Park. Her name is Dana Schwartz.
Okay.
She is very young and very successful. She has written a few books. She's worked on stuff like The Stephen Colbert Show. She is going to be the head writer of She-Hulk, which is an upcoming show on Disney+. It is a brand new Marvel series, so she has a lot of influence in the world that she lives in.
You won't like her once she's on her period.
But what the fuck was that?
She you won't like him when he's mad.
But she has a big problem with South Park.
Okay.
And this is what she is quoted as saying, and this is a tweet that she put out where people just lost their fucking minds.
Tell me this.
So
tweet.
she said, in retrospect, it seems impossible to overstate the cultural damage done by South Park, the show that portrayed earnestness as the only sin and taught that mockery is the ultimate inoculation against all criticism.
Okay, there's a person trying to shove big words to sound smart into that
I think
phrase.
someone had a thesaurus with them when they were writing
Look,
this tweet.
she's a good writer, so to say that she couldn't willingly whip that up is not within the range of possibility to play to her side a little bit.
Okay,
She could say those things.
So this first tweet, obviously, got a lot of people mad because, of course, she's saying that, South Park has sort of culturally destroyed a lot of the minds of people ever since its inception. It's not too dissimilar from a politician saying that video games are making people violent. It's that thing's fault. It's not that thing's fault. But this is the part that really pissed people off. She was quoted as saying, "Smugness is not the same as intelligence. Provocation isn't the same as bravery. The lesser of two evils aren't the same." It seems like South Park has been trying to reckon with this. I admit I haven't been watching the show in recent seasons, but I'm fascinated to see the South Park creators. To be clear, I don't blame the show itself, and this is the big part, as much as I do the generation of boys who internalized it into their personalities, which maybe isn't the show's fault. So now, this is no longer just about saying that South Park is a culturally bad thing and can influence people, but of course, it's the classic Twitter attempt at the attack on males.
It set us up, like, how we were saying we've been watching it since middle school?
Yeah.
And now we're the assholes because we like fucking South Park.
Exactly.
Do we quote it sometimes? Yeah. Does it affect my cultural outlook at the world?
No.
I don't really think so.
Do you want to be Eric Cartman?
No.
No! You're not supposed to look up to Eric Cartman. Eric is an asshole.
I don't know. I see South Park as more of a cultural mirror.
Yeah.
That shows you the faults that's currently going on in our current culture. And they do it in an extremely immature, juvenile, dirty, gory way. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what South Park is. And it's also extremely well written. And they even get on the one character that brings up the moral quandary, Kyle. They get on to him and say, stop doing that. And it fails in his face a few times in the recent seasons.
And it's funny for that.
Like, they're so self-aware. By saying they don't understand what they're doing is the most un-South Park way of looking at it.
Exactly. And another big thing that she's talking about, too, is sort of the apathy of Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
It's unequivocal.
The apathy of South Park is what she's saying. It's not just the cultural damage, it's how they've made people not care about things. And how it's South Park's fault for actually making that happen. Or at least it's at the fault of the boys who watch it. Not the people who watch it, the boys who watch it. Yeah. And I'm guessing she's saying that for a couple of different reasons. One, you could argue that, yes, the main cast of South Park is boys, but that doesn't just mean that boys are the only people who watch the show.
My wife and I watch it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds like she has kind of a problem with dick. That's basically what it is.
I don't actually know if she hates men. I think she just says, isn't it a shame that South Park is influencing our culture? And she does specifically say boys, though.
She does. It is black and white. Clear as crystal.
I'm so scared to get near this woke culture shit, man.
But I wanted to get your thoughts on this because we love South Park.
I love South Park. This is not going to affect South Park. If South Park can take on China, they could slay this woman.
And that's another, it's like, really? You're going to go after this show that literally in the last season was going after China for all of their bullshit.
Yep.
Like, I mean, they even went back, they practically had a whole episode apologizing to Al Gore about, global warming.
Yep.
Like, to say that the creators of South Park do not actually care about things, that they are damaging culture, is just such a hot take. It's ridiculous.
I just think it's so funny that the show that reflects our culture back on us in a ridiculous, outrageous, exaggerated way is saying it's the one damaging the culture instead of the bullshit that they're talking about. That's within culture.
Yeah.
Look, could South Park go too far? I'm sure in some people's minds. Could South Park offend you to a point that you don't think that they're worth watching? Of course. But I mean, South Park is great, but it's meant for adults. And
Comedy should offend people. It should provoke people.
Good comedy gets you to think, but there's also dumb good comedy. Look, comedy in general is kind of like I always remember that description of porn when I think it was like some justice on the Supreme Court says, I don't know how to define porn, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to define comedy, but I know what I find funny.
Exactly.
And it's like, I find South Park pretty funny.
There's one quote that I want to highlight.
So the internet went in on this lady. That's essentially what happened.
Oh, yeah. Now, here's the thing. Before I get into this next part, one of the big things is, of course, South Park fans went on the defensive. Some of them were just straight up, common, I disagree with you on this, blah, blah, blah. Of course, this is the internet. This is Twitter. People freak the fuck out, and they decided, do the whole death threat thing.
No,
and,
that's dumb.
Call her out for being a woman and all that stuff. And you know what? That's stupid and all.
That's
and,
dumb,
of
guys.
course,
Don't do
Dana
that.
Schwartz is immediately using this as a scapegoat. She's like, I've been receiving death threats every day because of this, and all because I just spat out my opinion. First and foremost, Dana Schwartz, don't give those people the power. Don't give them the time of day. Do not acknowledge them. By doing that, you are quite literally strengthening them.
Well,
and it does not take away from the actual criticism that she is getting.
I don't know, man. Death threats on the internet seem like there's got to be. I don't know the statistics, so I probably shouldn't say numbers, but there's got to be at least 60 to 70, 80% of those are just dumb young kids saying things they don't understand.
But that's why you shouldn't humor them.
But once in a while might be some fucking creepy dude that really means it.
Of course.
And he wants to do dark
I'm not
things.
saying that there aren't people out there who are going to make actual threats and do those type of things, but the fact of the matter is there is actual criticism out there, and to ignore it because a couple of stupid trolls said something really dumb does not invalidate what they said in terms of their disagreement or what we think and believe, especially when it comes to the fact that I believe, no, South Park has not culturally damaged people no more than music, video games, or movies. You cannot put the blame on those things. It comes down to the individual person, and you certainly can't blame it on a very specific gender. That is fucked up.
I don't think I can put it any more perfectly than you did, Corey. It's weird.
You can tell I'm passionate about this.
Yeah, I can tell you're upset about this lady getting involved, but at the same time, pointing out South Park being a idiotic, dumb, show that just comments on culture is true as well as it is an insult to them.
Yeah,
because it's a low-hanging fruit show sometimes, but they approach it from a high intellectual perspective. And that's why it's interesting. And it's animated, so you can get away with some really fucked up things that you can't do in real life.
South Park has gotten away with some of the most fucked up shit I've ever seen.
Like when Chef died, and then he fell down a thing and then shit himself and got eaten by animals. Or he got eaten by the animals.
That's just a violent example.
Yeah.
There's way worse things that South Park has done.
There's just so many things. The Strong Woman episode.
Last season caused so much controversy.
Strong Woman. That was a great episode. And I remember that controversy when Joe Rogan was saying that a man that transitions into a woman shouldn't be able to fight women.
Yeah.
Remember when he got in so much shit for that trans topic? And they kind of took that and then made a whole episode out of it?
Yeah.
I bet they heard about that Joe Rogan controversy, and that was part of the thing. There's also a whole bunch of problems where men that had transitioned to women were then beating all these women's records in track and field and weightlifting. And then I think one of the national weightlifting associations here in the United States says, look, we'll make a trans league, but we're not going to count this this athlete's performance against a person that's been a female biologically their whole life. Mm-hmm. People get so upset about that stuff. It's so weird.
They do, and especially with comedy nowadays, which, again, going back to what we were talking about last time, I don't fully believe in cancel culture. I think comedy will always exist, and it'll always constantly continue to basically offend people, but I think for all of the right reasons. And that brings me to something that I really want to... there's a quote that I absolutely love. It's from a show from the mid-'90s, which you may or may not have heard of. And it's a cartoon show that didn't exactly get super popular, but it's slowly coming back because of this one quote.
Street Sharks.
It's called Duckman.
Oh, no, that's never mind.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that show.
No, I don't know that show.
All right, so I'm not going to go into it's basically a cartoon show starring Jason Alexander, who voiced this one character. And there's this entire episode which is basically about the censorship of comedy. And he has this one quote which is just absolutely brilliant, and I was reminded of it because Nostalgia Critic just did a video about this, and it's probably one of my favorite quotes on comedy.
I remember the show.
It's one of my favorite quotes on comedy, and it goes just like this. Comedy should provoke. It should blast through prejudices, challenge preconceptions. Comedy should always leave you different than when it found you. Sure, humor can hurt, even alienate, but the risk is better than the alternative. A steady diet of innocuous, child-proof, flavorless mush. Demand to be challenged, to be offended, to be treated like thinking, reasoning adults. And raise your children to do the same. Don't let a comedian, a network, a congressional committee, or even an evil genius take away your freedom to laugh at whatever you want.
Oh, it's free speech 101.
It is.
It
and
is
it rings like truer today than it ever has before.
Just like she has the right to say those things, South Park has the right to say what they want to say.
Exactly.
But the thing where she crosses the line is where she says South Park's a cancer upon our society.
Yeah. And you know what else?
You can't go saying those, because then you're asking for cancel culture. Then you're asking for, let's remove that so the world's a little safer. Fuck you, the world's not safe. Let's just deal with it.
And it goes back to this. Dana Schwartz, you can say whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want without no consequences. There are people who are going to disagree with you, and they're going to have very good points, and you can't dismiss them because a couple of trolls made fun of you for being a woman. You cannot give people those power. If she'd have just said what she said and never made any other comments or talked about the trolls or anything else, I don't even think we'd be talking about this today. But it's the fact that she wanted to fight back and say that her opinion is the right one and not the wrong one. No, that's not how this works in this situation.
I feel bad for her because maybe she learned a good lesson on. She picked a fight with a bigger
She's still
dog.
fighting.
She's still fighting?
She's still fighting.
Well, look, she's in Hollywood. She's holding down the line that you need to hold down if you want to work in that world. You want to live in LA, you better have a left-leaning point of view.
Yeah.
Which also is weird. Like, how is South Park based out of LA? Makes no sense.
It gives them a chance to be right next to the flies and bullshit so they can constantly call it out.
Yeah. Look, I'm surprised nothing happened to that China episode. I'm surprised Comedy Central didn't finally step in and say, hey, you're costing us money.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about China and you have an international product like a network or a movie or merchandising, you can't offend China because you need they're such a big market. They're the second biggest culture consuming market in the world, and the third is Japan, and it's a huge drop. It's a huge drop from China to Japan. Yeah. So people just want that money.
I mean, China did end up dropping South Park too, so
who cares?
That's just the way it's got to be. But I'm really glad that Matt and Trey, stood by what they believe and did what they did. And they took their punches, and then they took them. Dana Schwartz took her punches and then retaliated back and continues to do so. So yeah, it's a whole thing. People have been blown up about this thing all for the last week, and she continues to fight back. And the only thing she ever brings up now is how people keep sending her mean tweets and all that type of stuff. She just will not accept the fact that there are people who disagree with her, and a large amount of them that disagree with her. And now that this has happened, I just can't wait to see in the upcoming season this fall, will South Park do something about it, or will they ignore it? Will they make fun of Dana Schwartz? Will they make fun of the She-Hulk show whenever that comes out? Or are they going to just pretend it never even happened? Is it even something that matters to them personally? Is it a blip on their radar? It's hard to say with them sometimes.
I don't think that they're going to make an episode just about her. Maybe if they can weave it into something larger, they will. Because South Park doesn't make things on unknown writers
Exactly.
that tweet stuff.
Exactly. They just don't.
They don't.
Then again, they made an entire episode about PewDiePie and all that other shit.
Yeah, but PewDiePie is bigger than this lady.
Yeah,
PewDiePie is one of the biggest YouTubers in the world.
He actually is bigger than Dana Schwartz, who has only written like 3 books and worked on a few TV shows, and she's about to be the writer on a big one for Disney+.
I don't actually want to belittle her career. Like, let's be honest. She has a career a lot of people would want, you know, and has success. I haven't written 3 books, you know, like I am not a writer on an active...
I'm not going to give her a free pass on that because any asshole can write a book and get it published.
Okay, but not any
Is it
asshole
gonna sell?
could be a
Is
head
it gonna
writer
be a
on
good book?
a modern TV show. Like I'm saying, I would assume has earned her place in her social circles, but she needs to realize that she's playing it at a different level when she goes after South Park. That's just not.
And that's some of my favorite responses were like, there's this George Carlin gif where like one of the first responses to her, it was the guy said, "You're going after South Park," and then it's just a George Carlin going, "Are you fucking stupid?"
Yeah, you're not changing the world there.
Yeah.
It's a dumb move. Maybe she knew it. Maybe she's smart enough that she wanted the controversy to boost her net worth. You know, boost
A lot of
her
people
social-
know a lot more about Dana Schwartz now because of that tweet.
Yeah.
Never heard of her until I saw that
She
tweet. and all that
used the
stuff,
Schwartz.
if you will. The fact of the matter is we live in a powder keg society.
That would be a great South Park episode. It's use the Schwartz, but really they're making fun of her. So every time someone needs something, they just go tweet something angry, but never actually do anything.
Like there's got to be something, even if it's
But it's
minor.
like a Spaceball reference. It's
Yeah.
like use the Schwartz, and then someone just pulls out their phone and complains.
Oh my god.
You know,
Something like they got to do something.
there's something there.
Matt
There's
and
something
Trey.
there. Take that idea for free.
I know you're watching.
No,
this
you're not,
podcast. But no, that would be really great. But yeah, like I said, we're living in a powder keg society. We're walking on eggshells all day long. Everybody gets offended by everything.
Yeah,
Loosen up a little.
Just
people.
find people that agree with you, and then think that's the world. That's the answer now.
That's how it works.
Yep. Echo
right.
chambers.
All right, well, there it is, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the episode now. We got to talk about some fun anime and manga and ridiculous shit going on in the South Park world. We'd love to hear your thoughts about all of that stuff, so make sure to sound off in the comments section below. Give us some ideas for what you want to see for some future podcast episodes. Believe it or not, we've done like 3 of these in a row, which is a pretty big freaking deal.
We're finally getting it going again.
I
guys.
know, and obviously, you might be able to tell Christian did some magical lighting in here today.
I actually put up
sort
a
of
light.
change up the look in here to give it a more, as you would call it, intimate feeling.
Well, I moved the camera a little closer. I put a big soft box over here.
I
got
thought
a
I
little
smelled
room.
Astroglide.
Look, guys. We tried for about 30 minutes before we turned the cameras on this time.
Which
okay?
is good. And honestly, looking at it now, I think it looks good.
It looks better than the last time where we had raccoon eyes and we just turned the lights on in the room, and we fucking own a video production company and we don't use our gear. What are we doing? You know? Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Please make sure and smash that like button if you enjoyed this. Really should say that at the beginning of the video because I bet only 10% are still here.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to do that. Hey, guys, like and subscribe. You know, but hey, guys, like and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification. And if you want to support the channel, we have a Patreon. We have a PayPal link. We have our Amazon affiliate link. Also, if you donate in any capacity to our channel, we will make a review for you on a topic that you request. Especially, you know, even if it doesn't interest us, we will review it. We will make an attempt at it. Mm-hmm. Corey has one in the hopper right now. He's almost done watching what show?
I don't want to say what it is.
Oh, you don't?
No, because it's like a surprise.
But the guy asked, and he knows it's coming.
I mean, he knows, but the other people don't know it's coming.
Okay. Well,
all right,
way.
fine. You want me to announce it right now?
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting ready to do a review of the first season of Katekyo Hitman Reborn.
Hitman Reborn. Great
Hitman
show.
Reborn, yep.
Corey's going to have some things to say about that. Also, we just want more content to come out of this channel, so we're just going to keep trying, guys. If it's coming down and just chatting in front of the camera for now and keeping the Nerdcast, the Powerful Nerdcast going, I'm cool with that for now. Mm-hmm. And just thanks so much for watching and your endless support. We love comments, even if it's that the show sucks. Like, tell us why you think the show sucks. Is it because we're 2 white cisgender males? Too bad. Is it because our content sucks? We can work on that. So anyway, really appreciate you guys watching. And do you have anything to say before we wrap it up, Corey?
No, I think that was a pretty good wrap up.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And until next time, the Powerful Nerdcast is out.